Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Uh, it's Pride Month. I've already made a video about, you know, Pride related previously, but there's something else I felt I wanted to talk about. A couple things off the bat. Um, my intro, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. I had a comment on one of my videos recently. Um, when I did that, it was not with the intention of being inclusive. I was just, if you go back to watch like the first couple of videos on my channel, I was experimenting with ways to express myself, get across my weird sense of humor. And that just came to me and I started using it. It wasn't until I'd said it used it a few times that I realized that people might think I was being inclusive, which doesn't bother me. I don't care. you know, if people want to think it's inclusive, fine. For me, it was just something, it sounded like something Gonzo would have said. Gonzo's my favorite Muppet. Gonzo is listed as a whatever in the Muppet category. He's not a chicken, he's not a turkey, he's a whatever. So for me, it was just something bizarre and silly. That it's inclusive is cool with me. I don't care. I just felt that I wanted to state that it wasn't done that way based on the comment I received. Like I said, it's inclusive, but it wasn't designed that way. The other thing I wanted to point out is that I'm straight. I'm not gay, bi, pan, trans, attack helicopter, or whatever. I'm pretty much sure I'm like 95% straight, depending on my proximity to Jason Momoa, because that man is a tasty snack. But that aside, I'm relatively straight, so I'm not going to be celebrating Pride for any of those particular reasons. This isn't going to be a coming out video for me. But what I did want to talk about was when my daughter was a sophomore in high school, my youngest daughter was a sophomore in high school, she came out to us, to my wife and I. And I think we were like the last people she told. I think she told her sister first, which that particularly doesn't bother me. But she told us by leaving a note on the kitchen table. She had gone up to school. My wife and I were leaving the house for work, and my wife said, "Hey, Tuna, Aaron left us this note, this letter on the table." And we opened it, and she said, "Mom and Dad, I'm gay." And there were other things in the letter that she said, but she mentioned that she had struggled with it. And what really I want to talk about is the fact that she didn't feel she could tell us to our faces. She felt she had to do it in a note. And that bothers me a lot, that she didn't feel safe to tell us to our faces. That's on us. That's our failing. That's my failing. And what did I do wrong? I don't think that she should, have explored her self-identity with us to a large degree. That's, that she may have talked to her friends, talked to her sister about that. That's okay. She doesn't need to discuss every intimate detail of her life with us. And some things you are better to talk about to your friends or your peers than your parents. I'm okay with that. But she didn't feel she could tell us. She felt she had to tell it to us in a note, that she couldn't tell it to our faces. What did I do wrong? I think that's what I kept coming back to. My little girl didn't feel safe with me to tell me that. there are a couple things too. One of the things she mentioned in the letter was, don't tell me that you knew. I struggled with this. I didn't know. Don't you dare tell me that you knew. And we didn't. It was a complete shock to us for a couple of reasons. Um, when she was a teenager, we asked her if she was interested. When she first started getting like 12, 13, are there any boys in school you're interested in? And she said no. And we tried to be, okay, no boys. Are there any girls you're interested in? Is there anyone? And she always came back and said no. But there were signs that if we knew, we could have picked up on. One of them being that she didn't have any straight friends. All of her friends were gay or trans or non-binary, except one. She had one token straight friend. So we maybe if we'd been paying attention, maybe we could have guessed, because she only had that one straight friend. I like a lot of Erin's friends. I like a lot of her friends, but didn't mean to name drop her. I'm trying to keep this private. So there was a hint there. And if I'm being honest, I thought she might have been ace. Those of you who are unfamiliar with the term, asexual, asexual aromantic are people who show no interest in sex or romance. So after 3 or 4 years of her saying she had absolutely no interest in anyone, I thought she might have been ace. But no, I did not suspect she was gay. But getting back to more serious issues, one of the things she mentioned in the letter was that she didn't want to be gay, which, if I'm being serious, I consider another failure on my part. So bouncing back and forth between solemn and silly and back to solemn again. What did I do wrong? Somewhere along the way, I screwed up. I have my suspicions of what it might have been, but I'm not positive. I don't think it was anything overtly homophobic. I've mentioned in my other video that I've always been a, you do you kind of guy, laid back. I spent a lot of time around queer people growing up. I was involved in music theater. I worked in restaurants. Some of them I liked, some I didn't like. Some I thought were super cool, some I couldn't stand. No group is a monolith. Anything I might have done was probably fairly subtle. Anything I did wrong was probably fairly subtle. That made her think she wasn't safe to tell me. And I think it might have been, I have a friend who is very not progressive. I think it might have been my association with him. Not blaming him. Well, he is kind of an ass. But if I'm being honest with myself, I think it's my friendship with this one person that might have made her think reluctant to tell me, to discuss things with me. And I will always regret that. It's one of my few, in my opinion, one of my few major screw-ups as a parent. I've had a few things that I deeply regret. And whatever I did to make her feel she couldn't tell me is definitely going to be one of them. So I'm not sure where I'm going with this. I guess I wanted to air my failings in front of a large audience. Well, not a large audience, considering my subscription base is only about, I think, 170 people at this point. My average video gets about 20 views. So, for the 2 dozen people who are probably going to watch this, I don't know. What does this have to do with pride? I guess, the pride parade itself is more about, for the queer people, I guess, the celebration of being allowed to be who you are. And for the rest of us who want to be supportive, it's supposed to be about being supportive and about giving people a safe space. And I have not been a good ally in that regard. I hope I've been better in the upcoming or the following years. She's an adult. She's graduated college. She's got a full-time job. So, it was several years ago she came out to us. And I hope I've been better. I think so. Not perfect. I still have my stupid moments. I still have my disagreements with her and the queer community in general. But I try to keep those to a minimum. I try to keep those sane and reasonable. So I guess I'm just airing my further airing of my stupidity here and my failures as a human being and a parent. And I suppose that's it. Good hunting.